Hello, and thanks for joining me. It's Lorraine Murray here from Connected Kids, the international program training adults how to teach kids meditation and mindfulness, whatever their age, whatever their ability. So today what I wanted to do was to share with you one of my favourite meditation tools that I like to use to help reduce stress and anxiety. And with the world pandemic still here and still with a series of lockdowns and difficulties and changes to life, it can be really difficult to calm down our nervous system. So this is a mindful activity that involves mindful touch, or perhaps it's just mindful imagination, but I'll get to that in a moment. And it's actually something I've used with kids on the autistic spectrum, as well as kids without being on the autistic spectrum or with ADHD. And it really helps to calm down the nervous system and to help them feel a little bit stronger and more grounded and safe inside. It doesn't mean that it's just for kids. You can practice it too. I use it for myself sometimes when life feels a little bit overwhelming, which it certainly has in this year. So I'm going to talk you through the way that you actually use it. And you can either practice with me now or just watch this and then you can try it later. Whatever you do, please practice this before you teach your kids, okay? Because this is what we go on about on the Connected Kids program. We always have to make sure that we actually are practicing the things we want our children to practice, because otherwise it comes with a lack of integrity and authenticity. So we really need to practice ourselves, see how it feels for us, and then teach our children, or perhaps even get them to join in by watching this video and you can practice together. So just to explain what's it called? I call it the amygdala hold, or the head hold. And it's actually, if any of you have my second book, Connected Kids, this one here, it's actually, I think, chapter 13, called Calming the Mind. And it's really about helping us to use the sense of touch and the sense of awareness and breath, and also to just be very mindful of that particular sense of touch when we're doing this. So how does it work? Well, I discovered it because I was developing some ideas for the second book, working with different children and different case studies. And I've since taught it to obviously thousands of people now, and we get some fantastic feedback, which I'll share with you at the end of this really short video. But it's involving just connecting to different parts, or our awareness to different parts of the head and the brain as a result. So normally we go through our life and our brain is developing at a massive rate as children. So we have three different parts that I'm particularly interested in as someone who teaches meditation to kids. One part is here underneath the brow, which is called the prefrontal cortex, sits underneath our brow here. One is here, just above the neck and at the back of the head. And then in the very centre of your brain, there's something called the amygdala, which is sometimes referred to as the smoke alarm of your brain. And that's because it's really involved if there's any kind of potential perceived threat in life. And that activates the stress response, the fight, flight, freeze or fawn response in our nervous system. And it's designed to keep us alive. You know, it's designed to help us survive as a human being. So it's not a bad thing. But sometimes it can be overstimulated. And I think in 2020, with everything that's been going on, from the pandemic to other activities as well in the world, we've just really been under quite a lot of stress. So our nervous systems are quite frazzled, and that certainly is something our children pick up from us too. And they may display that in very stressed behaviour to you. So it's really simple how to do this, but it does require you to really pay attention to what you're doing. So when I'm teaching this to the people in my programme, I ask them to place one hand on their brow. And you can have your eyes open or closed. Obviously you're watching me at the moment, so your eyes can be open, but still have a nice relaxed gaze. And just really feel the warmth of your hand and the sensation of touch, where the hand rests there, and just the whole shape of it. And maybe switch your awareness between noticing how the hand feels on the forehead and then how the forehead feels being touched by the hand. Okay, so that's one part of this head hold. And then if we move our other hand to the back, so that space just above the neck that I mentioned earlier. And that's the reptilian brain. So that's the part that we want to hold as well. And the reptilian brain means it's been with us for, well, since humankind developed. So it's really involved in the fight, flight, or freeze. So again, just holding that there. Your eyes can be open or closed, but just feeling that sensation of touch and the warmth or coolness of your hand. And just paying attention to how it feels to have your head held that way. You might notice your shoulders are a little bit high, you're really stressing your arms, so let that relax as well. And just really let this part of your head be held by your hand. Okay, so those are the two parts too, okay? And then what I want you to do is to do it at the same time. So one hand on the forehead and one hand at the back at the same time. And you can maybe time it through the number of breaths that you take. So it might be like 5 breaths or 10 breaths, just depending on what you feel like, really. And just usually it's about a minimum of 3 breaths, and then you really start to notice maybe other sensations in your body. You start to relax a bit more. You pay attention a bit more to where your hands are. Just breathing and noticing warmth or coolness. Okay. And then you can put your hands down. You can keep your hands there as long as you want, really. Obviously, if you're doing it yourself, and depending how strong your arms are, you might get a bit tired. So you can do it lying down. And it's a really good one to do before you go to bed at night, or when you're lying in bed and going to sleep. And the same, if you're teaching your kids, then it might be that you hold their head for them. So you're actually putting your hand on their forehead, putting your hand at the back, just above the neck, the back of the head, and just holding that there. But what's really important if you're doing it for someone else is to really also focus on your breath and the sensation of touch and be mindful. Please don't let your mind go off somewhere, and if it's full of worrying thoughts of, am I doing this right, this is wrong, or they're shifting around, you really need to notice that, come back to your breath and use your breath as an anchor, because your energy really affects the children that you're working with, or your own children as well. So the more you can just really be present, doing exactly what you did there, but holding your child's head, will just really help shift and relax their nervous system. And it does this because if we're in that really reactive response, the fight, flight, freeze or fawn, then we're really working from this part of our brain, which once it gets into that, it's very difficult to consciously switch off. So we have to facilitate it and help it to do that. And we do that by bringing our attention to this part of our head, to this part of our brain. It's also when we practice meditation, brain scans show that this part of the brain lights up. So that's why meditation is so effective for people, for children who are feeling anxiety and stress. So the more that we actually practice this, the more our nervous system calms down. And we've had all sorts of reports from people that we've taught this to who've worked with their kids. So, for example, we've had someone one of their children on the spectrum had this stressed behaviour of running back and forward through the house. And what they noticed was really noticeable to them is that the running back and forward really reduced dramatically after they were practicing this amygdala hold, this head hold. I had another experience which was really interesting, where I had an interview from someone for an autism magazine, and she actually had a 13-year-old son who had autism, who's on the spectrum. And I suggested to her she try this, so I talked her through it and asked her to do it. And it was about 2 or 3 days later she emailed me thanking me for the interview, and she also commented that it was the first time in her son's life that he had woken up not in a rage, because normally he woke up in this absolute rage, this real sense of anger and rage running through him. And she said she taught him this hold the night before, and it was the first time in his life he'd ever woken up without experiencing that. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I do know that this works. It's just the opportunity for you to practice this. And maybe you'll question and think, how's that meditation? Meditation isn't about holding the head. Well, that's the difference with the Connected Kids program, because we see everything available to us as an opportunity to teach children some meditation or mindful awareness. In fact, we call it mindful activities. So we're bringing their attention to things like their breath, to their body, the sensation of touch, even sound and things around them as they're going about their day-to-day life. And that's usually how we connect to them when we first start to teach them meditation. We engage them with that. So you can either, I don't know, you can practice this. You can maybe get the book. It's available on Amazon. I'll put the link on here if you're looking at this on our YouTube channel, Connected Kids. If you're on the website, I'll put it there too, and you'll be able to find that under the resources section. The other thing is you might want to think about coming on our course, which teaches you things like this. You know, so we're really active. We've been working for nearly the last 20 years teaching people like you how to teach their kids meditation and mindfulness, or perhaps even like working professionally in your community, whether that's through your current job or doing something, starting a whole new career as a kids and teens meditation teacher. So you can have a look at our programme. Because of the pandemic at the moment, everything is really being taught online, which we've done for a long time. Next year anyway. We do hope to introduce, with the word of vaccinations now, we will be able to introduce face-to-face teaching again, which is really exciting. But there's different opportunities for you to learn. So please, if you have a question about what we've done today, or anything you don't understand, or anything that you would like to ask more about, then please drop us an email. We're happy to help. Another thing to do with this particular one, which is quite interesting, is to use your imagination as well. So suppose you had your head held like this, or you were holding your child's head like this, okay? And if you close your eyes, just even for a moment, and you want to just take away one of your hands, or maybe both of your hands, you could perhaps even pretend and imagine that you still got your hands there, so that you still imagine the sensation of touch, the warmth, the coolness, and just using your imagination is really effective on the physical body, because the body really responds to what the mind is thinking. So even if you're not physically holding your head or holding your child's head, but you have been, and then you take your hands away, it will still feel as if that is happening, and it will still help to calm down the nervous system, which is absolutely amazing. Wonderful if you practice this at home with your kids, and when they go into school or a situation that's really stressful, they just imagine their hands or your hands on their head there, holding their head as they breathe, is helping them to feel a bit safer and calmer. And the other thing you can do when you have the head hold is you can actually, as you're holding the head, we teach this in the book and in the course, we teach about having like maybe a word that's really nice that they like. Maybe, you know, it's the word calm or love, or, you know, just quiet or light, whatever you want to put there, love. And then also imagining that on the hand that there's another word written there, and you could almost imagine breathing in those words in and out those parts of your head, or they're breathing them in and out parts of their head, and just guiding them to do that, just suggesting that every time you breathe in, you're breathing in that word love, breathing all the energy of that word love through your hand, through my hand, into the front of your head, just noticing how that feels. And so you're just kind of talking them through that. If they're younger children, then maybe those words are a little bit too big for them, although a lot of kids get the word love. But if there's something that makes them feel happy, it might just be the word happy, it might be the word strong or courage, or, you know, whatever it is that they need. And they're just breathing that in and out of those parts of their head. And that can be a very effective way as well of helping them keep their focus there when you're asking them to pay attention to these parts. So I hope you found this helpful. As I said, just please drop us an email if there's anything that you would like to find out more about. And if you've got a particular issue, or there's something going on that's really a bit of a struggle for you and your kids, or the kids that you're working with, please drop us an email, and I'll create another little video like this about it, or I'll do something to communicate how you can help yourself and help your kids too. Thank you for even listening, and have a wonderful day.